Okay, here we are, CZ Scorpion. My CZ Scorpion, the first shots. Let's see how we do here. I'm running the buffer tube today, so I've got a buffer tube going. Let me put it on safe. I've got a buffer tube going here, and I'm just running it with the regular iron sights. But here we go. Let's see how this thing does. Oh, I like the way this thing shoots. One thing I do notice that a lot of other people were talking about is that this butt right here, this thing is digging into my hand just a little bit right here. You can see where it's starting to give me a dent. Continuing on, this is a buffer tube, not a stock. But I'm trying to get myself a third point of contact. Ooh, I like that. This is the 20 round magazine, by the way. It's transparent so you can see your rounds. And I'm getting up there close to the end because I can't see any. And I'm out. Last round bolt hold open. That's good. So far, so good.
Greetings, folks. This is Chris, and welcome to the Doing Proper channel, and yet another in my series. That's right, I love Gun Day. This is a brand new gun, and so far, so good. Folks, I did have this thing shooting. And if you last remember, in my last video, I told you that I had the CZ Scorpion. It was so close that I could actually smell the tape on the packaging as it was on its way over. And here it is. I told you it was close. And yes, I'm as happy as a pig in shit right now because this is a very fun gun to shoot. Yes, I did decide on the CZ Scorpion. And go ahead and look at my X-Tar EP9 production, but I was comparing the X-Tar EP9 to the Evo, and I decided that I was going to get the Evo. I made it sound like I was going to get the X-Tar EP9, and I was, but what ultimately tipped my decision in the direction of the Evo 3 here was that it does feel significantly more solid. This feels like a really solid piece. If you ever held the two of them in your hands, it's not that the X-Tar feels bad. It feels like the AR type of pistol that you would expect it to feel like. This feels significantly more sturdy. This feels very substantial. And I remembered that from having shot the both of them, that this one felt a lot more substantial. But another reason for that was the magazines.
Now, what I like about the CZ mags and what aided in my decision to get the Scorpion rather than something like the X-Tar EP9, which was great, or any of the others, was that CZ's mags, this is a 20 round magazine, and it's only going to be anywhere between $15 and $20, whereas a Glock magazine is about $40. It's about twice as much. And that does assist me in making my decision because it's significantly cheaper than Glock mags. So I'll just do it like that. But another thing I like is you can tell exactly when you have your 20 rounds because this is transparent. I like that. You can see through this. Some people that bothered, for me it didn't bother me at all. I like knowing how many rounds I have left or if I've got all 20 in the magazine. So that's a great touch.
So that's great. And this thing did come with two 20-round magazines, and as you can see, that's two transparent 20-round magazines. That did bother some people. They said, I wish it was more of a solid black color or whatever. That didn't really bother me. As a matter of fact, as I said in the video, I found the transparency and the fact that I could actually see the rounds in the magazine to be an advantage. That didn't bug me at all. In addition to that, I bought the 30 round magazine. But another reason I decided to do that was because these magazines here are half the cost of the Glock magazines, as I said in that video. And cost is usually, oh, who am I kidding? Cost is always a consideration in my choices when I'm picking up firearms or deciding to get a firearm. Cost is one of the biggest things. And cost is also a consideration when you look at other subguns on the market. You don't have too many that are of this caliber, or I mean of this build quality and everything like that, that are less than $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. The suggested retail price of the Evo 3 is $849. You could get it for about $100 less in some places online. Most likely when you go to your gun store, when you go to your local gun store, which I always encourage people buying locally to help out the local economy. But still, when you go to your local gun store, you could probably expect to see this for $900 or more. Now you're looking at this Evo 3 exactly as I got it, with the exceptions of this adapter back here, which I purchased myself so that I could put this here buffer tube or attach a arm brace or a stock if I should ever decide to pay $200 for that stamp. And this is a handgun, by the way, so for ATF purposes, you saw the videos of me shooting this with the buffer tube, and it was touching mostly my cheek. ATF, just so you know. But the Evo 3 comes with this here plate right back here, not this adapter. So just so you know, it doesn't come looking like this. It comes looking like this picture here. So my decision to get this gun rested primarily with cost involving the magazine, the gun itself, and the build quality of the firearm itself. So substantial, but cost, again, is always part of the decision process when I get a firearm. So let's go over the specs. This is 16 inches in length from here to here. Not with this adapter, but right here. It's 16 inches in length. Its weight is 5 pounds. So it's kind of beefy. It's a handgun. And the barrel is 7.72 inches. But let's check out this gun from barrel to butt and talk about the features. There's threads and a muzzle device up here, and as you can see, this here thing turns off if you want it to, exposing the threads, right? Which I believe with this pistol fits most of your muzzle devices or suppressors. Next is the charging handle, which is non-reciprocating, and this is the charging handle right here. It's reversible over to this side, by the way. So if you're a left-hander, if you're a right-hander, you can switch this over to the other side. And it's non-reciprocating. What that means is as you're firing the firearm, it goes back and forth if it's reciprocating. It's reciprocating the action. If it's non-reciprocating, it just holds still. So while you're shooting the gun, you could have your hand up here. As long as you're not blocking the ejection port, you can have your hand up here, and that charging handle is not going to be smashing into your fingers should they get in the path. Another thing about the charging handle is this is just like an H&K type of action where you could pull your charging handle back and cock it back into this cutout right here. And that's like an H&K. And then, of course, you get your new magazine full of rounds, which isn't in here, and insert it. And for this one here, you could slap it down. And as you can see, it didn't go any further forward because there's no rounds in the magazine. But had there been rounds in the magazine, it would have chambered the round and went all the way forward, which you can make happen also with this lever right here. Right? And it would chamber the rounds as well, just like that. So you've got a choice of 2 ways to chamber rounds with this thing. And then up here next is the rails. As you can see, it's got rails everywhere. This side, the bottom side, all along the top, rails everywhere. Most people are going to put a red dot or something like that up here, and lasers or anything like that can go anywhere else. So there's ample rail space. You've got lots you can do with this. As you can see, this came with a front hand stop right here, which was attached to the rail. And the purpose for that is simply just to keep your hand from, with the recoil or through other action, coming up in front of the barrel since it's so close, right? There's the barrel. So hence the front hand stop. It keeps you from getting a hand piercing. Not that they're a thing yet, but boy, that would be the most painful piercing you can get yet, is just to have your hand go in front of a barrel while it's shooting. So the magazine release is right here. It's on both sides. And it runs very decisively when the magazine is empty and the bolt is closed.
Here we are. This is among the first shots with the CZ Scorpion. I've got 20 rounds of cellular and Bellet 124 grain 9mm rounds chambered here. Let's see how we do. This is a dark post, and that is a dark target, which of course for someone like me, I'm like Mr. Magoo. This presents a problem because I have to actually try to see the post while I'm seeing the target. I'm just gonna take my time and do some shots. Bottom left. And out. And one thing I did notice about this gun is when you're out of rounds and your bolt is held open, the magazine release, the mag doesn't come out. You have to pull it out. If I was going to ask CZ to change one thing about the design of this gun, I would say to make it so that your empty magazine comes flying out like it does with handgun, especially for someone who needs to quickly change mags. That's my only problem. But what I will say is when the bolt is released and you put a magazine in here, right? When you push the mag release, it comes zinging right out. That's really quick. But it doesn't do it when the bolt is held open. So it's a little bit backwards. When the bolt's held open, that's when you want the magazine to come out like this so you could do a quick mag change.
So as you can see, the mag release thing is a little bit reversed because we want the quickness of the magazine ejecting to be taking place when the bolt is held open after having expended all the rounds in the previous mag. So if I was going to tell CZ anything about that, I would say, hey, why did you kind of reverse the ease with which the magazine ejects? But that's just me. Well, actually, it's not just me. I've heard other people talk about it before. So still, it's nice to have the mag release right here where it can come out that easily. Now if it just was logical. The grip is all right. The problem with the grip, because you want to have your hand up here and it feels really comfortable to have your hand up this high, and the grip is good, but the problem is as you're shooting it, if you get really close, you can see that the safety is resting right there on my finger. That's where the safety is. And with each shot, boom, 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 it rubs into your hand. If you look at these pictures, you can see it starts to create dents in this part of your finger, which is really uncomfortable. And after a while, you just kind of want to start sliding your hand down unnaturally on this grip and shooting it like this so that you're not touching this. So I'm not sure why CZ didn't take this into consideration. And I would have stayed and shot some more, but really my finger was killing me from this. Now I thought the other people that were talking about this were probably being too nitpicky, but I gotta say, after about 400 rounds, I was ready to stop shooting this just because of that. So what I did for me was I bought a left side switch delete right here, which is just gonna be a flat plate right here, and it's gonna make this unambidextrous, and I can access my safety from this side where most other people would, but again, I shoot left-handed. And it's going to be flat here so that I don't have this rubbing against my hand. So I consider this to be a design flaw based on its placement. It's really inconvenient and rather uncomfortable. So that would be another thing that I would tell CZ aside from the magazine release and its ease of operation being reversed is to change this into something flat or out of the way. Now there's third-party support for that. There's places where you can get these switch deletes right here, ambidextrous deletes for either side, either left or right. I have one on order. It's only going to be about $8, but it's fully worth it to me. Next, the trigger. Now some people said that the trigger is anywhere between 12 to 15 pounds. I wouldn't say that. I would say it was more like 10. Here's the trigger, right? And we'll go ahead and do the reset for you. So let's charge it. And here's the reset. There's a click. That's very close and very decisive. You can actually hear that quite loudly. No take up after the reset. And back into that 10-pound trigger pull. I think it's about a 10-pound trigger pull. Now again, the back of the handgun didn't come like this. It didn't come with this buffer tube. It came with this plate. And it was a lot more flush. But most people are going to get the buffer tube, or they're going to get a folding brace or an arm brace, or they're going to get their $200 stamp so that they can have a permanent stock affixed back here. So CZ thought about that. They gave us room to put an adapter. That's great. And most people are going to. And as you can see from the video footage, I was shooting with the buffer tube just to give myself a third point of contact again. So this did not come with this. This plate came with this. And it's very easy to install and uninstall, which I'll show you some other time. This one also came with a lot of sling locations. Check this out. You got sling locations here and here. More sling locations on the back of this plate had it been on here instead of this adapter. You got sling location here and here. So they've adequately covered sling locations with this. And the magazines, of course, it did come with 220 round magazines just like this again, and I bought that 30 round magazine additionally. Inexpensive magazines. But in addition to those previous reasons for getting the Scorpion, another one that grabbed me by the bippy was how easy this thing was going to be to take apart and clean. Check this out. Remove your magazine. I've got my charging handle back right here, so make sure your charging handle is back. And if you look over on this side, you'll see that there is a button right here. Push that in, and as you can see, it kind of pushes this pin out a little bit more so you can grab onto it. Pull it out like that. And then you grab onto this. You just pull up on your trigger a little bit, and as you can see, it cocks it off, and you can pull out your trigger group. How simple is that? Now you can see that this is your bolt assembly right here. And so you're just going to push in a little bit, and then pull it out. And then clean this. Get some pipe cleaners, clean on the inside in here, and clean all around here. Lightly oil it, and then of course you put it back into place, just like this. Put your trigger group back into place just like this. Snap it in, push the pin, discoteca. You've got this thing back together again. So I like how easy that is to field strip and clean. That makes me mighty happy because I generally do not like spending loads and loads of time fondling small parts. So I've got to say that the field stripping and cleaning of this gun is pretty much a premium, easy feature. Now what I'm going to get for this gun when I'm done getting everything is it's going to have the buffer tube on here, of course. So it's going to have this buffer tube. And I'm going to have a KAK Industries Shockwave blade arm brace back here. So it's not going to be a permanently affixed stock. It's going to be an arm brace. And of course, I will just put that on my cheek and only my cheek. So help me, me. So I will have that back here so that I could put something to my cheek for ATF purposes and not use it as a stock. I'm also going to get the Magpul angled foregrip up here. So there's that sort of triangle section right here where it makes your hand like this. It is not a pistol grip. Now remember, if you get a pistol grip for this, that means you got to do that form and pay $200 for a short barrel rifle. This is not a rifle, this is a handgun. So it stays a handgun if you get that angular foregrip right here, which just makes it more comfortable. And that angular foregrip, of course, comes with an attached hand stop. So I'll be taking this thing off and just putting on that assembly up here. I'm also going to put Talon grip tape back here. This is a good handle. It's all right. It feels comfortable, but I would like a little bit more grip. This is kind of slippery. So I'm just going to get some simple Talon grip tape and wrap this thing with it. The rubberized type, and that'll be more comfortable too. So I've got plans for this, but this is definitely a very fun handgun to shoot, and I recommend it for people. If you're looking for something like a sub gun, something like an H&K that you can call a handgun, because this is a handgun. This is not a short-barreled rifle. But also, too, I could see this thing fulfilling home defense roles. Since it's so short, you're not taking up a whole lot of space. You've got 30 rounds, and if you need to check the rooms in your house, you've got something that's not as long-barreled as a rifle that you're going to smack into walls and stuff. So, but folks, this is it. And now, folks, don't forget about the Two Improper Network, Patreon, and so forth. If you like what I've been doing on the Two Improper channel, and you'd like to see more frequent content, better content, and for things to get a lot more lively around here, why not consider going over to Patreon and becoming a supporter of the Two Improper channel and the Two Improper Network? I've only got 2 small membership levels going right now, with a $1 membership level and a $3 membership level, which enables you to get in on drawings and have access to Two Improper's photography, art, and stuff like that. Not only do you get the things that you would get in addition to watching Two Improper on YouTube, and by becoming a supporter of the Two Improper Network, you would be helping us make things a lot more lively around here. Lots more to be had for the members, more interesting reward tiers to come in, and lots more if you just consider joining the Two Improper Network on Patreon. Because again, YouTube's not exactly supportive of free speech after all. So many of us content creators are depending on things like Patreon so that we can continue to bring our subscribers better content and more frequent content. And again, I'd like to thank everybody who has supported the Two Improper channel. And tell your friends. So if you like what's going on the Two Improper Network, tell your friends about Patreon, but also tell them about Two Improper on YouTube. And don't forget about Two Improper on WordPress. And folks, I appreciate you watching. I'm Two Improper. My email address is down here as we're speaking right now. That's twoimproper@gmail.com. Write and I will answer you, provided you're going to be polite about whatever it is you have to say, and if I've got the time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join Patreon. The more people that join Patreon, the more benefits for the members we can have. So tell your friends, tell your family, spread it around the schools. Join Two Improper on Patreon. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless America, and keep on protecting your families, yourselves, your flag, your country, and its honor. It's the patriotic thing to do, and it just so happens to be the right thing to do.
There's one thing I've never said here on the Two Improper channel, and that is that I am a crack shot. That I ain't. But so far so good with this CZ Scorpion. Let's see how we do. Maybe I do better with this. Okay. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, I have to do something about getting the red dot on this. Ooh, that sucked. And out. And again, magazine release. Okay, so I'm gonna try an even smaller aperture setting. This comes with 4 aperture settings right. I think that's fantastic. You have a choice of close in quarters or for more pinpoint shooting. I moved my target in to 5 yards because I'm having a hard time seeing the black target and the black front sight. I might do something a little bit different with the front sight to make it more visible. That would help me a lot. And let's see how we do here. Top right, closer target, smaller aperture. See if I can dial it in just a little bit. A little bit better. That's all 30. So as you can see here, as I was shooting, the charging handle is non-reciprocating, so it's not moving back and forth, say like your AKs and stuff like that. Those are reciprocating. This is non-reciprocating. Okay, so recognizing that the front post is dark and so are my targets, I switched over to lighter colored targets, and we'll see if this helps my shooting any, as if it's going to. And we'll see how we do with a lighter colored target. And okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some simple double taps. I'm pretty pleased with the trigger pull. The trigger pull is not as bad as some reviewers said. I am having a ball with this thing. This is an absolute joy to have. So let's give some double taps a try. These are cellular and bellets. These are 124, which I got at 14K Golden Pawn in Westland, Michigan. Thank you guys. Here we go. Double tap. This thing threw a shell right in the back of my... That's uncomfortable. Here we go. And out. So far, so good. And again, last round, bolt hold open.